This is Take Five.
Hi, and welcome to Take Five, a not so ordinary movie review show. I'm your host, Eli.
And I'm Donisha.
Today we'll be discussing a Netflix original series, Clickbait. It's been in the top 10 for about 3 weeks now, and I'm really interested in getting into what the heck is going on there. Now, forewarning, there are a lot of spoilers, so if you haven't watched it yet and you're just dying to see it, turn away now. Hi, and welcome back. Today we are discussing Clickbait. It's kind of a weird. I lost my thing.
God.
So today we're going to be discussing Clickbait, which it's been really popular recently. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but in my deep dive after binging the whole show in 2 days, I found some really mixed reviews. Like, it has a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb. It's been in the top 10 on Netflix for a hot minute now, but it has a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is normally what I use to judge things by, because they have like the official critic views and then like the other stuff about normal people, and they've been saying some pretty harsh things about it. What are your overall thoughts of the show?
Honestly, it was tolerable, but if I wanted to binge watch it again, I wouldn't do it.
It's an exhausting show. It's
like,
so
you have
strange.
to pay attention.
Yes, it's like, okay, my biggest complaint first off the bat is there's a lot of stuff that you have to like keep your eyes glued to the screen. I like to do other things while I watch shows, but in a lot of instances they had like just text messages popping up and they wouldn't like read them out or anything. So if I looked away for a little bit too long, I would just be completely lost. So as someone who has a really hard time focusing, it was a struggle, but also because of the plot. The plot was very odd.
I feel like this show is geared towards our age group, but at the same time, most of the people in our age group are in college or high school, and they like watching TV while they're studying or doing other things. And you can't really do that with this show. You have to pay attention, like you said, because of the text messages. And it's just hard for me because I like to have like background noise, and you can't really use this as background noise.
Right. I've had so many professors tell me that, your generation's attention span is like the size of a goldfish right now. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, but ouch. And it really just shows as I'm watching this show. Like, the beginning of it's really suspenseful. It's good. But then it just drags on. Each episode is like an hour long, which is insanely painful for me.
Yeah, because like I feel like it should have been cut off at like episode 5. Like,
Absolutely.
we should have found out by then, but it was just like dragging on, and like the one thing I will say about this show is that it was not predictable. The ending threw me for a loop. Like, the second to last episode, you would think like, oh yeah, that's the person,
Right.
and then boom.
Nope.
You're
Completely
wrong.
different.
You're completely wrong.
Whatever you think's gonna happen, you're wrong. You're incorrect. Unless you take like the most absurd random character and say they did it. They totally did it. You're wrong. You're wrong. It will not make logical sense at all until the last episode.
It's the person you would least expect.
Yes. And I think that's what got on most people's nerves about this show. It's like, oh, we're going to have like a logical chain of events and it's all going to make sense and you're going to be satisfied with the ending. No, we're not going to do that for this show. It's like an M. Night Shyamalan twist, but worse.
Yes, it's like the entire story, like I said earlier, it should have been stopped at episode 5. But it's like the entire story was twisted around, and it's like a completely different show at this point.
Yes, it's insane. But when we come back, we're going to get more into the plot and the details. So this is your final warning to click off now if you do not want spoilers. But when we come back, we're going to talk more about the characters, the plot, and why the cops didn't really do anything for the entirety of the show. And we'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
Free your spirit on Hattiesburg's new public art trail, featuring nearly 40 vibrant Instagram-worthy murals and sculptures. It's the perfect socially distanced activity. So grab your bags because Hattiesburg is safely open for you. Learn more at visithburg.org and visit Mississippi responsibly. Calling all foodies to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Take a bite out of the newly launched Hattie's Burger Trail, featuring mouthwatering creations from local eateries. So grab your bags because Hattiesburg is safely open for you. Learn more at visithburg.org and visit Mississippi responsibly.
Howdy and welcome back to Take 5. I'm Eli.
And I'm Donisha.
This week we're still talking about the Netflix original series Clickbait and why you shouldn't watch it.
I mean, if you want to waste your time, watch it. But if not, don't.
Yep. It's 8 hours and it's great, and then it's confusing, and then it's disappointing. So first, I would like to talk about the fact that this is a show clearly meant for like the younger generation, right? There's a lot of technology, a lot of texting. It kind of feels like episodes, like that app where they just tell stories through the little avatars. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, no one actually knows how to use the technology.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what made me mad about this. So it's like you're on TikTok, like you're watching TikToks and you're watching one of those murder mysteries, and you're like, why don't y'all do this? It's like the audience is smarter than the cops.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you trace the IP address? And this could have been solved quicker.
So literally, the main character, or the missing, okay, so a guy's missing, right? That's the whole premise of the show, as you probably saw in the trailer. Nick is missing, and everyone's wondering where he is. And then a video pops up online to, I guess, a non-copyrighted equivalent of YouTube, and says, hey, if this gets 5 million views, I'm going to die. He's just holding up a little sign, you know, kidnap style, very classic. And his sister is freaking out about it, okay? So what does she do, right? She pulls up the video, and she keeps refreshing it and playing it over and over again to show everyone. I, at that point, would have probably screen recorded it, but she just shows everyone. And that is the first sign that even though this is for children or college kids that know a lot about technology, the writers didn't know a lot about technology.
And I believe actually his son was the one person to actually download the video so he wouldn't add to the views.
Yeah, it's bad. And and these characters, they're wonderfully done characters for the most part, but just what they do gets on my nerves.
And the dating sites, it took a turn for the worse because Mistress Emma, she came and found wife Sophie, and she claimed that Nick went to see her in LA. Nick did take trips to LA, but he never saw her. So this entire time she's saying, oh, yeah, Nick and I were always together when he came to LA. But really, she had never met him.
Yeah. So the whole thing is like, as they're trying to find Nick, they uncover all these secrets about him or whatever. These secrets about him. And he's supposed to be like this philanderer, and the main lady to come and say, hey, I was his girlfriend on the side, by the way, FYI, is this woman, and no one thought to ask, hey, did you actually meet him, like, in person? Because the answer was no, and you didn't find out until episode 6 or 7.
Like, around the middle of it, that's when the episode totally twisted around, and it was like a whole different show. So now we realize somebody's using Nick's pictures to catfish girls.
And that's the big twist ending, okay? Because you think for the first part that, what's his name, Matt? Matt, one of Nick's BFFs, is the guy who's doing all of this, because why wouldn't he? And then you find out that Nick gets kidnapped, and then the kidnappers decide that he's not the guy they're actually looking for. So he runs into the forest, and then you're thinking, oh, it's totally Matt, it's totally Matt. And then the last episode, it's revealed that it's the receptionist at the place that he works. He's like a physical therapist, and she gets like maybe 4 minutes of screen time total.
Yeah.
And I understand wanting to do a twist ending that no one is gonna see, because I like to play detective as I watch just any show.
And it's kind of crazy because even though Emma came out and was like, oh, yeah, that's not his voice. Couldn't they have, like, you know, went back to phone calls or something and listened to the voice and, like, did the translator thing and see who was actually talking?
I don't think that's... I'm not sure. I really don't know how
that works,
how that works, but I feel like I know enough about technology
that this could have been solved.
Right. But next we're going to give our closing thoughts about it. So hold right tight, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
I got my COVID-19 vaccination, and here's why. This isn't about gimmicks or sentiment or what commercial I like. This is about facts. COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. Millions of doses have already been given in the United States, and these vaccines have the most intensive safety monitoring in U.S. history. When you need more information, use a reliable source like the CDC website, and get the facts.
Hello again, and welcome back to Take 5 as we talk about clickbait. So what are your closing thoughts of this show? Like, what is your ultimate complaint about everything?
I just want to talk about how there were, like, characters in it, and they would get, like, maybe their one episode, and then we would never hear about them again.
Right. There were like 80 million different characters in this show, and they never have like any substance to them other than like half of an episode. I really just feel like this could have easily been a movie. Like, it could have been condensed to maybe 2 hours instead of 8-hour-long episodes. Yeah. It's just kind of odd. Like, I don't know why they decided to do this format. I'm sure there's reasoning behind it that I'm not aware of, even as a video major, but like, it doesn't make sense to me.
I feel like they wanted to have that type of show that will be like, oh, they think they know this, but it's really this.
Right. And
like make it longer so it'll keep you in suspense, but toward the end it just started getting annoying because they kept like twisting it up and twisting it up. Like, okay, I see like 1 or 2 twists.
Right.
But it was just like constantly every episode it was something different.
Yeah. It's I don't know, because there was Ben, right? Ben was the reporter, and he had this whole thing with his boyfriend. I thought we were going to get to see a lot more of Ben. Like, I liked Ben. But then they were like, oh, wait, never mind. He's never coming back up again. He was just used for plot. And we didn't have to have a whole episode devoted to him in order for him to just not be involved in the conclusion. And then the one person that was the culprit didn't get an episode devoted to them. And I feel like they just used all these twists and turns to psych us out. It was kind of like a cheap, gimmicky thing, and that it was just a waste of time. There I was watching it, trying to finish it. Like, I had lectures going on in the background, and I was watching it. And then at the end, I was like, oh, why? Why would that be it?
And I feel like it kind of portrayed, like, the characters like Ben. It kind of portrayed him as, like, a criminal, and he liked being a criminal, but really he just liked his job.
Right.
And he did those criminal things to get higher in his job, and then got screwed over at the end.
It was so stupid. I I mean, some positives about it. It looks pretty. I appreciated that the camera angles weren't very profound, but I liked it. I liked how it looked. That's really all I have to say, though. Like, I was in suspense for the first 4 episodes, and then I was like, okay, guys, come on. Do I really need? Yeah. Do I really need to know about the son and the brother and the next door neighbor and the mailman?
I feel like they could have been a little bit more creative with the titles.
Yes, absolutely. It was literally just the son. Okay, now we're going to spin this entire episode from the son's point of view. And I thought it was going to be one of those cool things where like we're doing the same exact events but from other people's angle. But no, they continued the story in other people's point of views. And I thought that was a little redundant.
And then like we said, left characters out. So now it leaves people wondering, because this may be the only season that they come out with.
Right.
And so it leaves the people wondering, like, okay, what happened with Ben and his boyfriend? They got in a fight, and that's it. That's all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his boyfriend went to his mom's house. Like, did they break up? Did they make up? Like, what's happening?
I feel like there should at least be like a spin-off episode. Not a whole series,
Yeah.
but an episode, just to quench my curiosity.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think what's good about it. I liked the characters. The main characters were interesting, but not enough for me to like. I'm not gonna like make a Stan Twitter account for him or anything, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It feels like it was just some cheap attempt at like crime. And I don't know. I wouldn't watch it. But you can if you're just really, really into true crime and you love just getting the whole plot thrown out the window.
I have to say, I love true crime, but like this show just wasn't it for me.
Yeah. And
so,
honestly,
don't recommend.
I also kind of wanted Nick to like be the villain. Like, I really wanted him to be as horrible as people were saying.
And you know, Sophie did too, his
Yeah.
wife.
But the moral of the story is I was disappointed. You were disappointed. And I'd give it like 2.8 stars max out of 5.
I was
but-
gonna say 1.5, but you being generous. So.
It was pretty. That's all I've got. But that's been our final thoughts about it.